Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quat, and we're back at it again. It is raining, it is storming, it is hailing, tornadoing. It's doing all the things here in Central Texas. But we still got the podcast going. We've got Chloe Crowder joining us today. How's it going today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I had to look out the window because every time it's 7 o'clock and it looks like it's 10 o'clock right now. It is so dark outside. And I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
man, it is so crazy right now. But glad the weather's gonna hold out for us. We're gonna get this one on the books because I was looking at my calendar. I was like, I don't know what I'll get you back in, but how are things going for you?
Pretty good. Just busy. I'm getting ready to put out my new single on Friday, so it comes out tomorrow at midnight. I'm pretty excited about that, but yeah, just ready for a good summer full of
Ni-
writing and planning. So,
Nice. Yeah, you've been pretty active already this year. We had last time you were on for our fundraiser in November. And then
yeah,
you've released what, two, three songs since then, or is it just two?
I think just two, because one
Okay.
was a little cover of Landslide I put out, and then I put out kind of a sad one back in March. Yeah.
March, yeah. Because I was listening to the March one because I was contemplating on asking you to come on for that one, but then I was like, no, it's been that'd be a little bit quick turnaround. But then I saw this one, I was like, okay, we got to do this one. So
Yeah,
I'm,
I
I'm
really
ex
wanted a fun summer one. It was a really quick turnaround too for me, so
Gotcha. How long has this one kind of been in the works? It's called Free Time. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, how long has it kind of been in the works?
Yeah, I wrote it last year. Um, Probably almost a year ago now, actually. So I've had it like in my back pocket. It's kind of one of my go-to songs that rounds around town. And so as I played it more places, everyone was like, "When are you putting that out? Is that out yet?" And I didn't really expect to put it out, but I'm excited to. It kind of feels like it feels good that I'm putting out something that a lot of people want to hear. So.
Nice, nice. What was there like a specific moment that you were like, okay, this is the next song that we have to get out?
Yeah, uh, more so posting it and having rounds post it, and then
Mm,
everyone's like, "Oh, what is that
okay.
song?" kind of
Okay.
thing. It was kind of pretty cool to see that because I know I always put out what I want to put out, but this one's kind of more fun and upbeat, and it's kind of out of my comfort zone
Mm.
too, like as an artist. So.
What kind of makes it out of your comfort zone? Is it just the song, how it's played, how you sing? Like what makes it out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, more so the style. It's
Mm.
very bluegrass, kind of like a modern bluegrass kind of thing. So.
Gotcha, guys. Well, so were you like listening to bluegrass when you wrote this, or was it just kind of who you were writing with at the time or who you were around?
It was more so the production that we kind of were thinking for bluegrass, like more of like a summer light song. It has a lot of strings in it, which makes it sound like that. But when we wrote it last year, I kind of was stuck. I didn't really have a lot of ideas, and my friends were like, "Well, what are you going through right now? Like, let's just write about your life." And then I was like, "Well, I just feel like I never have any free time anymore." And then we kind of like were just spatting ideas off. So that's kind of how the title came about. And then we just kind of wrote around it. So
Nice, nice. Yeah, I saw I think it was on Instagram today. I saw your like promo, what was it, a video or like a reel or something for free time. And I don't know, it was very subtle and it was very looked very like I don't want to say simplistic, but it just like it seemed to work. And I don't know why that specific video just kind of grabbed my attention. It was like, okay, yes. So
thank you. That's good to hear.
yeah.
Kind of, it's a really like sassy song. So it was so fun to like come up with ideas for it and write. That was the most fun song I've ever written.
Nice. So then you'd mentioned that this is kind of like your go-to song when you're at rounds and whatnot. So people have heard this song. How has the song kind of progressed from when you originally started working on it to like what they're going to hear tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday morning, like whenever they listen to it. It was there like a progression of the song, or is it pretty much the same from when you first wrote it to what they're going to hear coming up?
So it's actually pretty different. Originally, I had like a really simplistic verse. It's kind of hard to describe it since it's
Okay,
not out yet, but
fair
it's
enough.
so it's called Free Time, but there's
Mm,
like a lot of money references. It's basically, I always tell people if you've ever been on a bad date, this song's for you. That's kind of how I introduce it. Um, but then the verse or the bridge that we rewrote, because I went back to them, my friends Hannah Dionis and Skylar Lee helped me write it.
mm,
I went back to them and I was like, I'm gonna record this. Like, I think it'll be really cool for the summer. And then we were like, well, we have ideas for it to change the bridge to kind of make it more,
yeah,
I don't know, like sassy in the lyrics kind of thing. And it's just kind of about not investing in a guy. So it
sure.
was really fun to rewrite. And then, of course, it didn't sound like we just did it on acoustic. We didn't really like think about
Mm,
instruments kind of with who I wrote it with, but it was really cool to talk about like at the studio because it was something I never thought I would put out. So,
fair, very fair. It's always interesting, like when you are working on a song in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, I'll probably never put this out. And then it ends up becoming like one of the more requested songs. And it's like, well, dang it. I guess I gotta put it out now. So,
I hope so. I
right.
know it is more like lighthearted for me. I feel like I'm so used to writing such meaningful things, but it's gonna be nice for people to hear like a different side of me. So,
For sure, for sure. So for free time, this is you've said it a couple times already. It's 100% a summer song. Are you looking at doing like a music video for it, or is that kind of not in the picture just yet?
I think so eventually I would want to do that. I think it just kind of depends on how the song goes.
Mhm.
I think because I that is one of my goals before the end of this year is to do a music video. I just
Mhm.
don't know for what song I want to do yet. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's just it's one of those things where it's like music videos are such an investment where it's like it'd be nice to do them for every single, but that's not always feasible, especially as an independent artist. And so it's kind of like, okay, I got to find the right song, the right mood, all the rights, you know. So,
yeah.
um, so looking into the summer, what's kind of your plans for the rest of the summer? Obviously, you got this coming out. Are you looking to continue to write more and release more? Are you focusing more on shows? Where's kind of your headspace at as we head into the summer here?
Yeah, I'm wanting to definitely play a little bit more and release more. Like I have two songs kind of in the works
Mm,
that I'm shopping. It just kind of depends. I thought about just doing like a 3-song EP at the end of
mm,
the year and just have that be my focus,
mm.
but I feel like it's such a single world, and I have so much fun with singles because every song is so different, but I love them all so much.
Yeah,
So,
right. What I think would be really cool, and like obviously I haven't heard free time yet, but hearing like all your other music and seeing kind of what you've been doing on YouTube, some of the times doing like the more acoustic style, is every song that you release this year also like a couple weeks later releasing like an acoustic version. That'd be really
yeah,
cool.
that's definitely something I want to do. With the song Good For Me I put
Mm,
out a few months ago,
mm,
I really want to do a stripped version of that because it was really cool. I told my producer this, but I was like, I really just want to put out the work tape of just
yeah,
me and the guitar because I love the final version so much, but I feel like I just love acoustic, so
nice. Yeah, there's just something about it. Like for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, but like the more acoustic sound is really starting to come to the forefront. You see like Ed Sheeran's been doing it for a lot of years, and now a lot more musicians are starting to just they're them with the guitar, like that's what their set is. And I think people are really starting to respond to it because it yes, when I go to concerts, I love the big presentations, not being able to hear right for a month, just like all the different things that get when you go to a concert. But when you go to like a more intimate, stripped down acoustic, that's just got a man, that just hits right here. So
Yeah, I agree. I'm a sucker for acoustic.
yeah. It's so cool. But yeah, whenever I listen to your music, it's like I'm always looking for the acoustic version. I just saw I didn't know you were just released an acoustic version of Us, and so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta go listen
Yeah.
to that one. Um so with all that, how often are you playing shows right now? Are you're playing what, a couple times a month or not quite that frequently or
Yeah, like once a week kind of thing. I'm wanting to get into more full band shows of original music. It's just Nashville, I mean, everyone looks for covers, like the
Mhm.
4-hour cover sets.
Yeah,
I'm just more passionate about original music, so
fair, fair. It's just one of those things where it's like Nashville on Broadway, they know what they need, they know what they want, and there's musicians that can do those 4-hour cover sets. And I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could get a band together and come up with at least 2 hours worth of covers and then, double up on them. But I've watched several musicians try and do that just to say, hey, I make money as a musician. And then after a couple months, it's like, okay, I don't enjoy this anymore. So,
yeah.
oh man, it's crazy. So, what are you really looking forward to this summer? Are you got any big plans, like either outside of music or?
Not really. I'm wanting to make more time to write. I do eventually want to take a little beach trip because I love riding when I'm not in Nashville. Sometimes I just get so burnt out like in the city.
Yeah,
And naturally, I'm from a small town, so it's like I crave the peace and like
yeah,
the inspiration. So,
yeah. Because you're originally from
West
East,
Coast. Yeah.
West. Okay, yeah. I'm sitting there. I'm like, wait a minute, what direction? Yeah, West Tennessee.
Trying to
Oh,
like everyone's from East, like Kenny Chesney, Morgan Wallen.
Uh, yeah, like for whatever reason in my head, I'm like, yeah, east, but no, it's west. Yeah, have you been home? Have you been able to go home and visit family recently, or kind of reset, or?
Not too much. This year has been really busy for me. Just working a lot, and I've been trying to write and meet. At the beginning of this year, I really focused on writing with just like as much people as I could. But now I'm just kind of taking a step back and like really thinking about the songs I want to put out and playing more shows. That's kind of
Hmm.
what I'm more passionate about this year. So.
Fair, fair, fair. When you do kind of get to sit down and write, what's motivating you right now?
Honestly, I feel like a lot when I first moved here and I was writing, I was just writing about a lot of failed relationships. And obviously, I mean, free time isn't about failed relationships,
Yeah.
but it's just like the cycle, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, of dating. Um, so I kind of want to take a step back and like write about more mature, grown things.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair enough. That you bring up a very interesting point because I think a lot of musicians and a lot of like young female musicians, they kind of see the failed relationship thing is working for like Taylor Swift because wasn't that like the ongoing thing on earlier on in her career? Like, oh, she broke up with somebody, here comes a new, that whole scenario. And so I think a lot of young female musicians kind of see that working, and so they try and emulate it, but I think it's more about there's more depth to life than a failed relationship, and you just got to kind of find that moment or that thing that's really yours, and I think that'll be the difference maker.
I mean, it's so easy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if someone breaks my heart, it's like, oh, I'm gonna write a song about you in an hour. Like,
Mm. Right.
so I'm wanting to do more things that inspires me this year and like take more time to myself so that
Yeah.
way I have other things to write about for an EP like in the future
Mm.
potentially. So
Nice. When you have taken those moments for yourself, have you found anything else? Have found anything out about yourself, like something that you forgot you enjoyed doing, or maybe something that you didn't know you enjoyed doing?
I don't know, like I mean, I love being in nature and it's
Mhm.
really hard when you live in the city.
Okay.
Um,
You
so
mean you
it's
don't go to Percy Priest Lake and just hang out?
this summer I will. No, I guess like a lot of the spots, it's really hard because in Nashville, once you find something you like, someone exposes it and then all the tourists go, and it's just a whole thing. So
Yeah.
it's
I
nice to kind of get away from that. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I had a musician friend. He was from Boca Raton in Florida, and he moved up to Nashville. And he was actually one of the first musicians that I interviewed the first time that I went to Nashville. Like we finally got to sit down and do an interview, and he was telling me about how he had a like a fishing YouTube channel. Like that's like outside of music, that's what he does is like he goes fishing and he's very invested in his fishing gear and all that stuff. And he was like, man, I went out to Nashville. Like he used to do it down in Florida because Florida, like there's fishing everywhere. But then he was like, I went to Nashville and it's like, yeah, I can go do the lake, but there's really not much else I could do here. So, but I feel it. So, um, no, that's cool. So will you go up into like the mountains and like just leave Nashville and go up into the mountains and whatnot when you need time or
well, one of my friends actually used to live kind of in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg
oh,
area.
yeah,
So me and my friends visited her like last year. It was really fun. But I feel like really a lot of my inner circle does live here. Like a few
yeah,
friends of mine that like wrote songs and stuff, they moved away, but I feel like everyone's just here grinding. And so it is nice to like go back home and reset for a little bit, but
yeah,
then being in Nashville, I don't know. I'm just used to always doing something and being productive. So it's
yeah,
kind of like half and half in my
yeah,
mind. So.
right. That's like a very real conversation to have because it's like I understand what you're saying. Like every time I come to Nashville, I get more done in 2 or 3 days in Nashville than I would in 2 or 3 months here in Waco. Like that's just the reality of the facts. And it's like, man, if I lived in Nashville, just think of all the stuff I could be doing. But then you replace the enjoyment that you have of like, okay, I'm going to go to Nashville and I'm going to work, but then I'm going to go home to Waco and I'm going to get to go to my buddy's show because I want to see my buddy play. Whereas if I'm in Nashville, it's like I'm just grinding away. And it's like, I kind of like the idea of being able to come to Nashville for a few days and then leave. And then I get to kind of enjoy my life. But, you being born and raised in Tennessee, it's just kind of like, what do I do?
It's crazy because it's two different worlds for sure.
Mhm.
Tennessee's such a big state, but
Nice. Yeah. So kind of outside of music, obviously we've touched on the like enjoy being outdoors and whatnot. What have you been doing outside of music? You mentioned you're working as well, right?
yeah, I work in retail,
Okay.
so very, very busy. I feel like I think sometimes I'm just so I feel like I'm addicted to being stressed and busy kind of thing, but outside of that, I'm just going to shows and writing. I've like made time for more family this year, which I've enjoyed. That was
Nice.
really much needed. But I feel like now I'm at the point in my life where, I'm in my early 20s and it's so crazy. I mean, that could be a song to write about, honestly. Everyone my age is at like such different places in their life.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I had somebody on the podcast that wrote a song of something very similar. It's a song called 25, and she's in one point in her life, and all her friends are like getting married and whatnot, and she wrote a song about it. And I'm like, see, that's the kind of stuff I like to hear. It's like it, the 18th song about a failed relationship or a bad breakup or whatever. It's like, okay, I'll listen to it because I like you and I support you, but at some point, let's find something else to write about here. So,
I know. It's
oh,
really hard writing about the real things, I feel
mhm.
like. That's what I've come to this year. So,
Nice. I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am looking forward to the next step, the evolution, if you will, and kind of see where everything kind of goes. Now, with this kind of realization, do you think your music's going to kind of stay in this more bluegrassy sound, or do you think it'll kind of stay more in the country-ish area or realm?
that's a really good I feel like I'm still trying to figure that out too, but I won't ever forget the moment where I got the first work tape, like the version of Free Time, and that was the first and final version because I just loved it so much. But I really think that it is more of my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I did when I first moved here, I was like, I don't want to do country pop. Everyone does country pop. I want to be different. But I feel like with the Lainey Wilsons and
Mm-hmm.
people like that, I feel like there's room in country music for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's probably going to be a lot harder going down like a different and original road, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, I love this style. It's kind of crazy because it's like something I never thought I'd do, but I'm excited to see how people will react to this one.
Nice. Yeah. It's like, I mean, just having been able to follow your career for when did we first meet? Has it been about a year since we first met or first did our podcast?
Oh, yeah, because I put out like my first song the end of 2022,
Uh-huh.
so
Okay. Yeah, because I think it wasn't us because I vaguely remember not doing an interview for that one, but I want to say it was either before or after that one. I'm trying to remember now. It's like um but
I
having listened to your music, I think a more bluegrassy sound just like really would lend its sound to your voice. So
yeah.
that hey, I'm really excited to kind of hear what you got sitting in your back pocket right now.
Thank you. I know
So
I was really nervous about it because I was like, I don't want to be stuck in just that. Because I mean, I feel like, well, at least in my generation, it's like people in their 20s don't listen to bluegrass. But I feel like kind of just changing it and figuring out me. So I mean, I'm still doing that, and it's been almost 2 years. So
yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where it'll take time for you to kind of figure out what your sound is, what your voice is, and even if it lingers around the country like realm, but it becomes a little bit more traditional country or a little bit more country bluegrass, like, and it just kind of shifts between different types of country because that's essentially what the industry is now. Is like you've got your main genres, but then it just kind of bleeds over into these subgenres or niche genres or whatever it is, which is actually a whole completely different conversation to be had because it's like you could have a country like look at Jelly Roll. He's like got this country hip hop thing going, and it sounds really cool. And just kind of melding all together all the different genres you want to put. I think once you kind of find your pocket, it's going to be a good time.
yeah.
So, but yeah. Other than that, do you have any shows coming up that you'd like to promote, or what do you have coming up after the single release?
Honestly, I've really put shows on the back burner planning for this release.
Fair, fair, fair.
Um, I'm more like focusing on social media and just connecting with people and showing them
Mhm.
kind of what I'm doing behind the scenes. Because I just feel like, I mean, we touched on it earlier, just living here is so it's busy and it's hard and it's stressful, but showing people that, you can relate to them and
Mhm.
do the same.
Yeah,
Um, it's just kind of what I care about, and that's why I wanted to do music in the first place. So,
absolutely, absolutely. And plus, with Nashville kind of gearing up for CMA Fest, that after next week, it's just going to be a pure madness in Nashville anyway. So
yeah, I'm so excited. I will be at all the free stages listening to my favorite people. So,
nice. So you'll be hanging around.
yeah.
Nice. I will be in the media room. Somehow I got media pass. I got a media pass. I had a couple PR agents reach out to me like, "Hey, are you doing interviews?" And I'm like, "No, I don't even know who to reach out to." And then I just started Googling it and found somebody's email address, and I was like, "Hey, are you still accepting applications or whatever?" And they're like, "No, but we might have room for you here." And I'm like, "Okay." And
That's
like an hour later, they're like, okay, we'll let you in. I'm like, shit, what do I do now?
yeah.
You yeah, I'll be there the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, I think. So be good
Yeah.
times.
I know that's awesome to see how much you've grown too, especially with independent artists. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride. It's opened up my like listening abilities. Like my Spotify playlist is like 90% independent artists at this point. Like I've still got the stuff that I grew up listening to, and it's like, man, I'm not going to get rid of that stuff. But somebody came to me the other day, was like, hey, have you ever heard of so and so? And I'm like, who is that? And it ended up being somebody like been on the top 40 charts for like the last 3 years. I was like, I have no idea who Saweetie is. Like, I just don't know. So it's crazy. But who have you been listening to recently? Is there anybody that's kind of started peek its way onto your radar?
Yeah, I love I love Megan Maroney. It's been really cool to see her kind of
Yeah.
blow up too over the years. Lauren Watkins. I really like Austin Snell. I It's so funny because every time like I go to write a song, I'm like, eventually one day I want to just have a bro country song because that's all I listen to, and it's so bad because people are always like, country music needs more room for females, and obviously I advocate for that, but it's
Yeah.
and then I go to my playlist and it's like Morgan Wallen, all
Right.
this
Right.
all this guy country.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna bring this up because I know the last time we had you on, we talked about we talked about us a whole bunch unnecessarily. Or well, not unnecessarily, but just unintentionally. But I think that's if you want to, since you brought up like bro country, I feel like that would be a really cool song as a duet if you found like the right guy to kind of come in and do a duet on that song.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So
for us.
yeah, for us,
I know. I'm ready for my duet with some guy in
yeah,
country. That'll be so fun, I think.
yeah. I was listening. I don't know for whatever reason that popped into my head like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, I, next time I ever on the podcast, I'm going to bring it up. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to bring it up. We talk about that song all the time. And it's like, I'm just not going to do it. And we'll just kind of let it be what it is. And then you brought up Bro Country, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to bring it up. So,
I mean, I think it would be fun. I feel like I've never seen a girl do that. So,
yeah.
I mean, obviously if I came out with a song, that
Mm,
would be kind of crazy. My producer was like, Chloe, no, like what are you talking about? One day though.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So I don't want to keep you here too much longer. If anybody wants to check out your music or any of that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you? And yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. Chloe Crowder Music, Threads, if people are still using that. I don't really know. Um
They
and
seem to be, so
yeah, I mean I'm still kind of using it when I
yeah.
get bored, but uh and then my Spotify, Apple Music, and that's just my name, Chloe Crowder. So
Awesome, awesome. And for anybody listening, we will share around the pre-save link. Well, by the time this comes out, it'll already be out. So I guess say showing the pre-save link won't do but a bit of good, but we'll have the link to the song in the description, all that fun stuff. So we really appreciate your time. Really thank you for being flexible because I didn't there was a minute there I didn't think this one was gonna happen tonight. So
I know. I was like, I didn't know it was gonna be storming there too. That's
yeah.
crazy how big the weather is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew it was coming, but everybody was like, "Oh yeah, it'll be done before 7." And I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." And then they're like, "Oh, it's not coming until like 8 o'clock." And I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." And then they're like, "Oh, it's just gonna storm all night." And I'm like, "Guys, because I work for a TV station, so I have meteorologists all around me at all times, so nobody could give me a straight answer." And I'm like, "All right, well, we'll just play this one by ear." And then I got home and it was just like crack it, and I'm like, okay, we'll just see what happens. So,
Well, with Tennessee, it's always random. I feel like I never listen to
mm,
the weather, and then it's like a tornado's here, and then
right. And
not today, luckily.
right, I always feel bad for Tennessee because it's like they're right there. They always seem to get a big tornado, and Nashville being like right in the middle of Tennessee, it's like you always seem to catch it. So
It's crazy.
it is, it really is. But Chloe, really appreciate your time. Really enjoyed the conversation as always. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch y'all later.